Morning, glory, America, bonjour, hi, Canada. A good Monday morning to you. It is on the brink of all-out war in Lebanon this morning as Israeli strikes accelerate across the border. As Benjamin Netanyahu looked into the camera this weekend and said, if Hezbollah does not get the message, we've got another one coming. And that is coming in the form of around-the-clock strikes on Hezbollah positions. And for the first time I'm aware of in this war, which began by Hezbollah on October 8th, the day after the massacre by Hamas of Israelis in southern Israel, Hezbollah in southern Lebanon began shelling, repeatedly attacking. More than 8,500 rockets, projectiles, missiles, drones have been sent into Israel. And this weekend, in the aftermath of the pager and walkie-talkie espionage, sabotage, magnificently orchestrated, very targeted attack on terrorists in Lebanon, Israel began a bombardment that has accelerated overnight, and many, many people believe this is the beginning of the war, and the war in the north. I'm sure Israel is not telling us everything that they are going to do, but for the first time they are dropping leaflets on the villages in southern Lebanon saying, get out, go north. Get out, go north. And for 11 months, the villagers of southern Lebanon who've got nothing to do with Hezbollah knew that, and they've already largely left, but they should get out more, because this is not going to be soft. This is not going to be a gentle touch. It's going to be a hammer blow on Hezbollah before they can use their 150,000 missiles on Israel, at least most of them. The other major bit of news is that the New York Times this morning released 3 state polls: Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. New York Times, mind you. Trump is up by 5 in Arizona, up by 4 in Georgia, up by 2 in North Carolina. I don't think that North Carolina number is correct, but it does indicate to me that Donald Trump is pulling away in the battleground states. Now, there was polling over the weekend that said Kamala Harris had a 4-point lead nationally. Don't believe it. I suppose they could poll California and she'd have a 25-point lead. I don't know how pollsters do it anymore. They have something like a 92% non-response rate. Then they have to model the electorate, and they have to figure out who is going to actually work to get out the Harris vote. There is just an enormous amount of audio to get through today, because Kamala was out talking on the weekend in Wisconsin. She is back in Virginia again, and former president was doing an event with Governor Youngkin in Virginia, where early voting began on Saturday. In the 2 states where early voting has begun, in both Pennsylvania and Virginia, I have to think this is a great time to be Donald Trump. Let me play for you his latest ad, which is at cut number 38, because when he comes out with one of these, it's going everywhere. I don't know where it's going to show, but let's play cut number 38.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
No, I have nothing against transgendered people. They are listening to the show. I do know I don't want to pay for their surgery, and I do not want to pay for their lifelong care. That meaning taxpayers should have nothing to do with this. Private insurance companies can price it in. However, that is a hard-hitting ad. It's a 30-second ad. It is going to, I'm sure, rock Pennsylvania's world. Rick Klein was on ABC this week. All right, we're going to go down to cut number 48 and play Rick Klein, who wants to alert. Rick Klein is no friend of Republicans. ABC is in the tank for Kamala Harris. I believe ABC Disney rigged the debate and did not ask one question about China, because ABC is owned by Disney and Disney is owned by China. Not literally, but figuratively in the latter case, literally in the former case. Here is Rick Klein on what the polls are showing us, cut 48.
30-plus point advantage for Joe Biden in the exit polls among Latino voters from 4 years ago. Hillary Clinton won Latino voters by 40 points. And, of course, she still lost the presidency. So there's some real ground to make up across demographics, but particularly with Latino voters. Kamala Harris has some issues that she's got to attend to.
So that's not a friend of former President Trump pointing out that Latinos are moving dramatically towards Kamala Harris. I was on Martha McCallum on Friday, and I got a chance to watch and comment on the Oprah fiasco. I think it turned out to have really hurt Team Harris, really backfired. They are not happy with this. Cut number 46.
Let's go down the line. Hugh, your reaction to this Oprah event?
I played a lot of it on my program this morning, Martha, because it's so bad it had to be heard to be believed. The vice president's like an old jukebox with only 6 bad songs in it. And whether you hit MacArthur's Park or Imagine, it's always bad. It gets worse with repetition, even when she has as her wingman the country's greatest communicator, Oprah. Along with Rush Limbaugh, the only person to build and maintain an audience of 20 million people daily for years. I can't believe how bad the vice president was last night, and I hope a lot of people saw it because I want Donald Trump to win. That's just it. I hope everyone saw it. I thought I was hard on them. If you listen to the Megyn Kelly podcast after the Oprah show, that made me look like Mr. Rogers, because they went through blow by blow. At the end, the subject of the debate comes up. Cut number 47.
Hugh, Brian Fallon, who's obviously very senior with the campaign, thinks that they may get another debate. And there's a suggestion that there should be one on Fox because obviously she would reach a lot of independent voters. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see that happening now? And do you think that President Trump would do that at this point?
The only debate I think can happen would be one that you and Brett moderated. I believe you would both be fair and both do follow-ups, and I have no idea what your politics are. I have no idea what Brett Baer's politics are. I would not agree to any of the other networks, and I've worked with them all. I've done moderated debates with Dana Bash. I've moderated debates with Lester and Kristen this past November. It requires that you be very even-handed, and they are very scripted, as you know, Martha. It's worked out beforehand. The ABC debate was the worst debate in history, and we can't have that happen again. It was a disservice to both of the candidates, especially to Donald Trump and to the American people. So if it happens again, I think that Brian Fallon ought to come hat in hand to you and Brett and beg you to beg Donald Trump to do another debate. And I don't think Kamala Harris would dare go near that. And Kamala Harris this weekend said, we want Dana Bash and Jake Tapper back. We think we ought to have the same rules. And, he did it once, he's going to do it again. No, maybe if they swap out Jake for me or Dana for me, because I've worked with both of them, I know how CNN, we're happy to do it. But no, you can't walk into another ambush. And these are corporate events that send corporate messages developed by corporate groups, unless you have an outsider in the room. I've done it 5 times with networks, 4 with CNN, 1 with NBC. The corporate people take over, and you must have an independent base, like I do, that you are not afraid of the boss, and you are not trying to impress anyone in the room. You're trying to be fair for voters. Here's what I would do a debate on. I would love to have a debate on Israel, because I think it matters a lot. Here is the question. Which of these 2 people will support Israel more in the coming war with Hezbollah? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? I don't think that's hard. I think Donald Trump will have Israel's back 100%. He will say, as he said to me and in many other places in the last 3 months, Israel's got to win quickly. They can't go slow. Well, part of the reason they're going slow is they haven't got the weaponry that Joe Biden is still sitting on, especially when it comes to the Lebanon tunnels that Hezbollah has built. They're bigger, stronger, larger, longer than the Hamas tunnels. And they're going to need those 2,000-pound bombs, and they need to get the villages evacuated, and Donald Trump would give them to them. Donald Trump would not be telling them, as Kamala Harris says, we need a deal, we got to have a deal. That's all she says. It's jukebox hit number 3, Itchy Park. Let's come back with Itchy Park, because that makes my skin crawl, as does the vice president talking about we must have a deal, we're going to have a deal. There isn't a deal to do with Hamas. In fact, over the weekend, the only good thing about yesterday was the report that maybe they got Sinwar. They don't know. They're investigating, but maybe they got Sinwar. We will find out more as the day goes on. Don't go anywhere. There's so much news to walk through with you this morning, so many cuts to play for you. I'm so glad you were here for another week. In this, the most important 2 months of the show every 4 years, the 2 months before the presidential, I'm Hugh Hewitt. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Take care.